Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Karnataka goes to the polls again in a week from now for the remaining 14 Lok Sabha seats on the 7th of May. Now this is when a series of disturbing videos allegedly featuring Prajwal Revanna have surfaced. Revanna is a Janata Dal secular MP and part of the BJP-led NDA, but he's no ordinary MP. He's the son of a former state minister and grandson of a former prime minister. Now, the BJP had been warned by its party leaders that there were these videos being circulated. So why did the BJP go ahead with the alliance with the JDU? And how is this going to affect the BJP, which needs big wins from Karnataka to realize its 400-seat mission? Joining me to discuss this are Professor Chambi Puranik, my colleague Ajith Vijaykumar, Professor Suriyanarayanan and my colleague Mohammed Wajihullah from Bengaluru. Vaji, since you're on the ground, day of fast-paced developments, tell us what's happened so far since the scandal broke a few hours ago.
Well, we've had Kumaraswamy come out and speak right now, and even the father of Prajwal Revanna has just spoken to the press. We've just got the information, we've still not got the video of it. But what he said is that he clearly regrets what has happened. We don't know who has released this video. It's been 5-6 years old. So I will not speak anything with regards to the video, is what he said. But an investigation should happen on who has released this. But Kumaraswamy has gone a step further and he's gone on to say that the party will surely take action against this if there is any proof to this entire matter. He's also gone on to say that do not bring the name of the family. Gowda is not involved, Kumaraswamy is not involved. But so far in the case, an FIR has been registered against Prajwal Revanna over sexual harassment, embarrassment of women, over assaulting, sexual assault. So all these cases has been registered against Prajwal Revanna, and he's been missing. Is also what we know as of now, because there is no idea where Prajwal Revanna is. The SIT has now sent all the videos that they have received from the complainant to the FSL, and they have also started their investigation on asking questions on what was actually happening there and who are the people involved in this. So case so far has been registered against Father Revanna and Prajwal Revanna for assaulting the maid and house help.
Chambi Puranik, how break down for us the significance of this, the release of these videos? It comes just as 14 Lok Sabha seats polling for this has ended, 14 more seats to go. Karnataka is a very critical state for the BJP, and in the middle of it comes this very shocking set of videos, which, I mean, the authenticity of this is yet to be ascertained, but it seems like there's a fair degree of truth in these. But tell us how significant these revelations are going to be, how it's going to affect the elections in Karnataka.
No, by and large, Sandeep, I don't think it will make an impact on the electoral verdict, or even in terms of voting in the second phase of Karnataka elections for Lok Sabha. But the most embarrassing thing is that both the JDS and BJP joined together, and now BJP leaders, led by the leader of the opposition, Mr. Ashok, have said that it's their lookout and they will definitely decide about that and all that. So it's a very unfortunate thing that Mr. Gowda at this age, he has to face this kind of scandal amidst the elections and all that. That's one thing. Number two, in terms of the local, whatever the rivalry that is there, this was there earlier also. We were told that Mr. Amit Shah was made known about these videos and all that kind of scandals and all that. And then they asked the JDS not to give the ticket to Mr. Prajwal. But, because of the family hold and the kind of obstinate attitude of Revanna family, they are up against even Vijaykumar also, they don't care. So that means within the family, there is a rivalry between the two
brothers.
And
that's
one
right, Kumaraswamy and Revanna.
Yes. It's there. That's why I think Mr. Revanna has lost word about getting seat for Prajwal. But unfortunately, this has come. I think one day before the election that the video was circulated within Hassan kind of constituency, but it had no effect on that. Perhaps it will not have. Even in the second phase also, it will not have. But from the point of view of one-upmanship and criticizing BJP by
Right.
Congress and Congress versus others. These things definitely will take place. But unfortunately, it has become a major scandal for the entire, not only state, for the nation also, that when BJP is talking in high moral ground,
Right.
such things happen in the JDS and BJP combined. How
Right.
you are going to? So therefore, they have said, we openly welcome the SIT probe ordered by Chief Minister. And Chief Minister himself has said there is a prima facie case. Seems to be like that. And another thing is, Sandeep, Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy is very balanced, a very calculated statement, saying that in Kannada there is a saying that "Uppu tindavaru neer kuditare." Those who eat salt, they have
Right.
to drink water. That's a kind of firm statement that he has given. Probably by
Right.
today evening or tomorrow, I think there will be a discussion or decision about whether to expel Prajwal or not. I think, in my opinion, as a public kind of, whatever the
Yes.
gauge public opinion and all that, I think if Mr. Prajwal is suspended from the party, if not expelled, I
Right.
think that will definitely, minimize the damage that has happened to Mr. Devagowda's family. And it's a very sad thing that Mr. Devagowda had to face this embarrassment.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
till now, he has not given any kind of a response or statement and all that.
Right.
Maybe he is waiting for the JDS High Command to meet and take a decision and all
Ajith,
that.
serious
This is how it
embarrassment
looks.
for Mr. Devagowda at age 80. He's probably one of the oldest active politicians
Yeah.
still around. He's been campaigning for his party and for the NDA as well. But, sexual harassment cases like this in Indian politics, what has been the life of these kind of allegations? Do they have a long life, or once the election season is over, do they continue? Do they haunt politicians, or do politicians invariably get away with these kind of allegations? Very serious allegations against both H.D. Revanna and his son
Yeah,
Prajwal.
Prajwal, right. So, Sandeep, the best way to look at this is to understand that when it comes to, sexual allegations, such cases, right?
Yes.
For a party which is not dependent on a family and a party leader there, he may, or that party may find it easy to brush it under the carpet. But when it comes to a family run, a Gowda family, right? So I think here such cases, and directly to be someone
Right.
who is part of the core of the family,
Yes.
for that person to be put under the scanner on such things, I think this is sad for the Gowda family.
Yes.
And I don't think so that they can easily brush off that taint.
It's,
If it were to be say of a national party and just a leader
Right.
there, possibly that is also there. And coming to your first question, I think sadly it is also true that such cases usually die the death after a while, after a month or so we
Yes.
kind of move ahead.
Right.
But the seriousness of the whole case and the number of women involved in this,
Yes.
this is shocking indeed. And I don't think so. I also personally don't think so that it will impact the elections, but certainly it will leave the Gowda family in a poor light.
Vaji, I want to come to you. This you were telling us today, and how the fact that the BJP already knew that there were these series of allegations against very key members of the Gowda family for several months now. What made the BJP go in for this alliance with the Janata Dal, despite knowing the fact that there were very grievous allegations, there were videos, there was a stay order that was obtained on the circulation of these videos? Why did the BJP go in for this tie-up?
Exactly, yeah. Devraj Gowde, the BJP leader, he had written a letter to Vijayendra, Amit Shah, and JP Nadda, as per what he claims, that he had written a letter to them, and he clearly told them that there are a lot of videos of Kumar Revanna in a lot of these compromising position, and I had also informed the party that they should not allow or give him a ticket and expect us to fight for him because he's a womanizer and all these sort. But these letters were not paid heed to, is what he said when he spoke to the press in the early in the morning. But the BJP continued to go ahead with this alliance. Could also give you an indication that in these particular seats, the BJP wanted to have a strong Vocaliga candidate, which
Right.
is the JDS, and also like you mentioned that there was a gag order on these videos that were there. And when Kumar Swamy says that why have these videos come out now, didn't come out that time, there may be people who may have leaked these videos, but there was a gag order on these videos, and close to 60 to 70 news channels had a gag order, which
Right.
included us also with regards to this video. So that is the reason why these videos didn't come out. Now, this video came out right 2 days before the polling of the Hassan constituency, and it went viral in that region. Is what that happened on that particular day. And even Kumar Swamy is one of those who said this in his press conference that he did right now. Now, how much of this will damage the BJP and the JDS alliance is something the future will tell us. But from the jittery responses that we are getting
Right.
from both these parties, it is very clear that they are on a back foot when it comes to this scandal that is broken out right
They're
now.
on the back foot, but as Chambi Puranik says, that it doesn't seem to have doesn't seem likely to affect the prospects of the BJP at the elections. But how does it affect the JD Janata Dal secular in Karnataka, Chambi Puranik? The fact that you have very serious set of allegations, and the fact that an SIT has been constituted, which will continue to carry out these investigations of several months. The house of Gowdas is divided right now. You have the Revanna faction of the family and you have the Kumaraswamy faction. Can they continue to hold sway as the third pole in Karnataka politics over the next couple of months? Or is this the end of the road for the family?
No, I don't think it's the end of the road for the family because Mr. Revanna just 1 hour ago on television he said we have faced such cases, several
Right.
cases for last 40 years, Lokayukta and other inquiry commissions
Yes.
and all that. So we will face the law, whatever
Right.
kind of inquiry, the law will take its own course. So I think, the hype that is created is very painful
Right.
for the people of Karnataka because we hold ex-Prime Minister Devegowda in high esteem.
Yes, yes.
And Devegowda himself is known for a person who always respects women and all that. I
Yes.
heard one or several instances where when people were asking him to call lady police officers in the evening or deputy commissioner, he would say, no, we should not disturb them. This is not the time. During
Right.
daytime, I will do. Such kind of niceties and courtesies that Mr. Devegowda
Yes.
has definitely done. I think Mr. Devegowda's larger than life, image, and is taking action. It all depends on what action they are going to take today or tomorrow. I think
Absolutely.
that will send a correct message.
Right.
And as the previous observer mentioned, including Wajihullah, the public have been watching, what kind of action they will take. And
What?
definitely it's a big embarrassment to JDS, but it
Yes.
will not see the end of JDS because they like Phoenix, they will again
Like
emerge
the-
in the
right.
politics, political life of Karnataka because both Kumar Swamy, Revanna, Prajwal and many others are young. And there are also workers who are loyal to Mr. Devegowda and Kumar
Right.
Swamy. Probably,
Right.
instead of party being begging, I think Revanna is a very clever politician. He will lie low and
Yes.
go through whatever cases that are there. Probably later when the case, either it is proved guilty
Right.
and punishment is given or acquitted or whatever it is, it takes more than 5 to 6 years. I don't think SIT and all that, they will do that kind of job. I'm told that the kind of very complex process of the kind of nature of cases involved,
Right.
hundreds of women, as you mentioned, I think
Yes.
it will definitely take longer time. But the public memory, as you know, the kind of things that are any new scandal, if emerges, this will be submerged in that also. This is how I look at it. Very
Right.
good, very unfortunate, and I think the people of Karnataka are really shocked about this kind of scandal, which was there earlier. As
Right.
Vijaykumar said, it was there, but we never thought that would explode
Yeah.
right time at the time of election, one after
Yes.
another, like that. It's
Right.
a very sad state.
Right. So, Ajith, this point that Chambi Puranik made, that public memory is really short, and it's just a question of another scandal coming around, and and this one will be forgotten. Do you think that's possible in this case as well? Given the fact that there are literally hundreds of women involved in this, it's very serious. The allegations. You could have an SIT, you could have several women's organizations involved in this, or you take the dim view that this is all politics and public memory is short.
Sandeep, I think allegations of sexual exploitation,
Yeah.
they are, we should not equate them with issues of corruption, for
Right,
example.
right.
So when it comes to issues of corruption, certainly public memory is short.
Right.
But here, someone who is part of the core of the Gowda family
Right.
and having exploited allegedly hundreds of women, I don't think so this will move out of public discourse anytime soon.
Right.
And this will impact the family for sure. I certainly feel that this will impact the family and its aura that was there
Yes.
around that family.
A former Prime Minister
Correct.
who at age 90 is
Correct.
still active in politics.
Correct. So I don't think so. It's right. As his father might have tried to do that. We have faced so many allegations, Lokayukta,
Right.
etc., etc.
Right.
But this is
This is
something
different.
This is more of a comes from that point of morality, right? So
Yes.
so in terms of if you are our politician, if you are someone who
Right.
who leads us,
Yes.
and you come from one of the first families of Karnataka,
Right.
for you having to done this,
Yes.
I don't think so people will forget it.
Absolutely. Serious issues of morality raised over here by my colleague Ajith. And this remains to be seen how far these cases will go, how many of these women that the SIT is able to bring out and testify, get them to testify against the
That would
Gowdas.
take years. That would take
It
years
would
again.
definitely take years, but the allegations, as you mentioned, Ajith, are of very different nature, given the fact that there's a lot more awareness today than what it was a few years back. And it's very, very unlikely that the Gowda family could get away with this the way other politicians have got away in cases of corruption. But that's the story that we'll be tracking very closely. Gowda full, the story of Revanna's family being caught in one of the worst such cases of alleged sexual harassment of a series of women who've come forward in the middle of the hot election season in Karnataka. But thanks very much for joining us, Chambi Puranik, Professor Suriyanarayanan, my colleague Mohammed, Wajihullah, and of course my colleague Ajith, Vijaykumar in the story. Gowda full, that's a story we'll be tracking very closely here at News9. Thanks for watching. Few political families in India can match the achievements of the Gowda clan. Patriarch H.D. Devagowda heads the high-profile clan that has given the country a Prime Minister and 2 Chief Ministers. We decode the relevance of the family's 3 generations. Catch our story, House of Gowda, Karnataka's Kingmakers, only on the News9 Plus app.
In 1962, Devagowda first tastes power from Holenarsipura constituency and won 6 times. In 1989, he loses for the first time. 1994, he joins the Janata Dal and becomes Karnataka's 14th Chief Minister. 1996, Atal Bihari Vajpayee government collapses, United Front appoints India's 11th Prime Minister.
He is in the job for 11 months and does extraordinary work which never got projected. He was a fantastic policy man, and or with the Tehri Dam, he was heading a coalition of 13 parties and managing it beautifully. People in Punjab, the Punjabi farmers, started calling the most aval variety or the best variety of paddy as Devagowda. And Kashmir, people loved him. He was the only Prime Minister to have gone there 4 times in 11 months.
Today, Devagowda is not alone. He has a family that is carrying his legacy forward.
On the 26th of March, the 22-member Indian crew of the container ship Dali were featured as heroes. No less than the President of the United States said they had helped avert a catastrophe, warning the city to shut down a busy commuter bridge as their out of control vessel slammed into the structure. Now, a month later, the Indian crew continue to remain on board the vessel, and worse, they've been accused of negligence. The city of Baltimore has called them incompetent, lacking skill, and that they were inattentive to their duties. And joining me to discuss the big questions in this case are Captain Alok Bansal, Captain Naveen Singhal, who's been closely following this case, and my colleague Justin Thomas here in the studio at News9 Plus. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Captain Singhal, I want to start by asking you, since you've been following this case so closely from day one, how exactly did this flip in from a story of bravery and foresight and fortitude to one of negligence by the Indian crew? How did the tables turn so quickly?
And thanks to your channel for giving time to Dali and for the 22 Indian crew, particularly in this election season. So, the thing is that the mayor is certainly concerned about their bridge, and so what they have done is they have filed a petition in the court over there, and urging the judge to actually limit the liability. That's the whole the essence of it. They want to turn the civil case into one that is criminal case, and when they do that, then in that case they can break the liability which the Synergy and Grace have filed in for, limiting their liability to $43.7 million. So they want to break that liability, and that is one of the reasons why they've done that. But what all their allegations can actually be proved incorrect, because everything has been it's a very, very haphazard and very irresponsible statements, because every allegation is supported by documentary evidence, whether it's in terms of certificate of competency, whether it's in terms of the training as per STCW convention and all the other stuff, all relevant records that prove that is wrong. But I think that is a lesser concern right now, because the bigger concern is the FBI that has stepped in.
Right.
So that is something that is really causing concern, because FBI, it appears, has been actually not knocking the doors, cabins of the crew, but they've been banging the doors, and they've taken possession of all the cell phones of all the crew members. So the crew members have socially got disconnected with the outside world, and there is sort of a incriminating sort of situation with the crew.
Right.
And this they've done without even having an initial briefing or anything of that sort.
Yes.
So this is a serious concern, because FBI is now looks like hell-bent on converting this into a criminal case. The experts in the US do believe that the FBI should have waited for the NTSB to complete the investigation.
Yes.
But the FBI has come in and doing it simultaneously. And in this case, there is one important thing. If the evidence that emerges is of some criminal offense, if they do come out with that, the civil proceedings, the criminal proceedings will take precedence over the civil suit.
Right. Absolutely. Captain Bansal, firstly, this thing of the Indians, the way that they were treated first as heroes who saved the city of Baltimore, so many people from certain death on the bridge, by alerting the city, and then a month later you have the FBI investigating them. They've seized their computers, their cell phones. There's no contact with the outside world. It's so tragic that we don't even know the names of the crew members or their families, what condition they are. Could you tell us about how worried you are by this fact that Indians, increasingly in the last couple of months, we've seen them in a lot of global flashpoints, be it the Red Sea and now in the of Iran, and now you have them bang in the middle of Baltimore, stuck here with the FBI. Do you think there's reason for the FBI to detain them the way Captain Singhal mentioned, to pursue a criminal case, to go against, to investigate their training and skill sets and all that's been mentioned in the petition?
See, there is no doubt that this accident was a very, very serious accident.
Right.
It's actually disrupted. In fact, for some time it disrupted any traffic to Baltimore Port. The bridge is gone. I think it will take at least a few years before it can be reconstructed back. It's a huge cost. There are insurers who are involved. There is the provincial there's a state government. There is, of course, the federal government, which has said that they will probably step in and provide them support. So huge amounts are involved. There are insurance companies on both sides. people who have stakes in this particular case. Now, let me be very honest that there has been a major accident, and of course, crew was very prompt in informing the authorities, which prevented movement of traffic onto the bridge. Having said that, the times that we live in, you can never rule out a conspiracy angle, and that's why I think FBI has gone in. We need to clear this very clearly, because there are recordings, there are evidence which shows that it is purely a genuine accident and nothing more. And once it is proved, I think the criminal case falls. And that is what is important. The process, unfortunately, especially in the United States, is a very long drawn process, and especially if FBI starts investigating from some ulterior motive angle, it could take a long time. And that is what is my concern, actually. Why has the FBI got involved? Do they have some clue, something? Have they got any hint? Why are they looking into this? Because normally no one would.
Absolutely. Why is the FBI getting involved in this? And I'm,
there is no doubt that this sort of an accident has disrupted a whole lot of things as far as.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Captain Singhal this point, but before that, I want to speak to my colleague Justin Thomas, who's here in the studio with me. Justin, what strikes you as bizarre about this accident? The fact that, you have this massive ship loaded with literally thousands of containers, just crashed into one of the key bridges in Baltimore. It's suspended that port. It's one of the most important ports on the eastern seaboard of the United States. And you have 22 Indian crew all caught in the middle of this thing. I mean, do you think that there's reason to believe that there was some kind of a conspiracy at work, given the way the videos that initially emerged, you remember, of the lights on the ship going out completely and before the collision?
Right, Sandeep, a month back when this really happened, we were also contemplating this same about the fate of the Indians.
Right.
And that's at that point also our fears were going around that will they be stuck on the
How long
ship?
will they be on the ship?
How long will they be on that ship?
Exactly.
What are the facilities they're being provided? But considering the fact that the American system, that how it works, because first of all, Baltimore is a very critical seaport which is completely now cut off right now. So nothing is happening there. They have to clear off the ships. They have to clear off the containers, which is still an ongoing process. At the same time, the legal was expected that both civil and criminal is going to take place, and FBI very much was going to be in the picture. So it's a long drawn process that we knew, but I think the way it's getting played out, how much time it's going to take, it's again psychologically very affecting for the people. But considering the fact that Indians happen to be in most of the merchant navy ships across the world, so the fact that there are so many of them, it also rankles the fact back home also their families must be affected. There's still no information as to how they are being being told about real-time updates. But I think this is a long-drawn process that we are going to see.
Is it a long-drawn process, Captain Singhal? Could you just take us through this thing? Because you track these developments very closely, in the merchant shipping world. What happens next? How long will the crew be on board? I'm assuming they have all the supplies that they need because they were setting out for Singapore. So several months voyage. But what happens now that the FBI has taken over and they're investigating this case?
Yeah, so the well-being and supplies and food supplies, that won't be disrupted. And I think I did see a video on their being supplied with provisions. So I don't think that part is. But yes, the FBI, as Captain Bansal is mentioning, is absolutely right. Now that they have stepped in here, they are certainly going to, this case could extend to months and maybe even a year or more. You never know. And it is possible. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but there's a very good chance that the crew will be there for much, much longer than we can expect. So the reason is why the whole crew, because they would like to question it. So even though there may be a lot of people who have nothing to do with the machinery space and things like that, but still, coming back to the machinery failure, the Gowda experts have been called in by the NTSB and Gowda experts because this particular ship has man engines manufactured in Korea. That's HHI, Heavy Industries. So they have been called in because they want to get the data, retrieve the data from the machinery space, and they want to understand what exactly went wrong. So through your channel, I also urge Synergy, Grace, and the Ministry of External Affairs that they was appointed by Synergy and Grace. They should apprise and sort of meet up with the crew and tell them what they should do and what they're not supposed to do, so that to prevent this case from getting from a civil to a criminal. So they must know what they should talk and what they should not talk, what are their rights under the US constitutional, so they have that right. So they must be informed about that.
Right, absolutely. And Captain Bansal, the fact that the MEA has not raised it yet, is it cause for concern, or is this the normal drill? I mean, at what point does the government of India enter the picture through the Ministry of External Affairs and our consulate in New York?
See, I have no doubts that MEA would be in touch with the authorities. They won't make a statement till they're very clear as to what is the situation.
Right.
Because obviously, FBI is investigating, they want to be sure before they issue any statement. You would understand. We have been in the forefront of fight against terrorism, and we don't want to be on the wrong foot. So obviously, MEA would wait and watch before coming out with a formal statement. But as I said, these are issues which will have to be investigated, since the names of the crew members have not been given, because this is an issue where even one single member could be implicated or could have caused that. I'm sure as the investigation progresses, most of the crew would be let go. But of course, the key person probably might remain incarcerated for a longer period. We have seen in similar accidents that have involved merchant ships at different times that there have been issues where people have remained in confinement for years. And very often, people are apprehended for such issues. Certain frivolous charges are framed against us. So in the case of Mauritius case, where one merchant ship had actually grounded and there was a huge oil spill, the captain was also kept in custody for over 16 months. All sorts of charges were framed against him, of course, which were all frivolous and fell by the wayside. But it took quite a lot of time before he could be released.
Right, absolutely. And Captain Singhal, just break down for us this thing of the crew being on board the ship, for the passage of the investigation. What were the last few cases that you could recall very quickly where the crew were sort of incarcerated on board the ship? They had to spend extended periods of time, just so that we understand that this is nothing out of the ordinary. This is what happens normally in such very serious cases of either spillage or accidents, maritime accidents.
No. Yeah, like Captain Bansal mentioned, you have the Mauritius oil spill. So they retained, I think, the chief officer and the captain and the chief engineer. So the senior officers were sort of, not released immediately. But I think the master, the captain and the chief engineer are still over there. So such cases, or for that matter, you have the cases of let's say, now in the case of Ever Given, that ship was blocked the Suez for 6 days, but there was no, detention out there. The ship was released, and the company agreed to pay a certain amount, which was agreed between the two parties, that's the Suez Canal authorities and the owners. So they eventually paid. So in recent history, Sandeep, there is no example where such a disaster has happened where the entire crew has been retained. There has been a case in Indonesia where a particular tanker crossing the Sindai Channel, they hit one of the fishing vessels which collided and with this tanker, the Norwegian tanker, and that tanker, the fishing vessel sank. So that vessel was detained for a period of 9 months, and they were not released. So with all the political pressures and with all the legal, eventually I think they got released after 10 months, but they were not taken into custody. They remained on board the ship itself. And regarding FBI, the reason why FBI has come in is because the federal bridge has got destroyed and 6 people have died. So they're coming in for that. So basically the investigation by FBI is fine. You do it. But you need to do it systematically. You need to do it, keeping in mind your interviewing seafarers. And at seafarers, I mean, there's no conspiracy out here. It's an incident that's occurred, and NTSB has already indicated that the incident is related to an electrical malfunction and possibly something to do with the circuit breakers. That's what the news is. So if that is the case, then the FBI could have waited for a bit of time, and even if they wanted to do that, they could have done it a little bit more gracefully.
Right, absolutely. Justin, FBI not wanting to rule out anything.
But I think that's a standard procedure across in any incidents. Even like, for example, if you remember after September 11, there was this United Airways that crashed into New York suburb, one of the New York suburbs. It fell just a month after that.
Right.
And immediately, obviously, FBI was into it, even though it was just a crash that was due to pilot error, something,
Right.
or nose error. So that is a standard operating procedure that you've seen across America. All these cases where FBI is brought in for the federal investigation, an overall investigation. So that's in line. So again, the question comes back to how long is it going to be? And I think it's a long drawn affair that is expected in this front. Right now.
It's a long drawn affair, as Justin mentioned. The crew have been on board the ship. The 22 Indian crew members have been on board the ship for over a month now. And as our experts have told us that they could be there for a longer haul as well. I mean, that's something that's we can only hope that they make it back quickly in time, and they've cleared their names. Just they've been alleged, all kinds of allegations are being thrown at them that they're incompetent, they couldn't do all
Even
that.
from racist angles were also
Absolutely.
coming in.
I remember the initial racist GIFs that were doing the rounds, that it's inconceivable for them that Indians could be on board a ship, and but they are, and Indians are one of the biggest contributors of manpower in merchant shipping across the world, and we can only hope that the 22 crew on board the Dali come back very quickly home, safe and sound, back to their families. But thank you very much for joining us this evening, Captain Bansal, Captain Singhal, and my colleague Justin Thomas.